Here is a final presentation on my capstone project for my technology management degree. My name is Tom Kemp, and let's get into this. So the introduction to this project is marketing for my business. This is defining the marketing strategy and creating the marketing material as the basics of it. Of course, there's a lot more that I'll get into, but that's the main basics about this project. And the significance of this project is it is personal to me since it is my business. It's giving me management experience, which is, of course, what my degree is about, so that's really good. And it is giving me a chance to apply what I've learned through my management degree, which is also very nice. So now let's get into the project journey, the start of it. So how did it start? Well, I had to figure out what I wanted to do for this project, Capstone. I knew I wanted to do something either for my own business or for another person, obviously, because that's what the capstone was, and ultimately decided to do something for my business and knew that I needed to do marketing. So I decided to have that be my main project. So then it became defining what the project exactly was and getting the project details. What was our strategy going to be? What were we going to do? How often were we going to do things? Things like that. And then of course with every project initiation, we began the project. So the project executions started in three main ways, or continued in three ways. We have to brainstorm, figure out exactly what our strategy was, how we were going to do it, and then we had to gather data both pre-post and post-post. That is before we post it on a social media platform, since we don't have the budget currently to post on or to pay for ads. And then after the post, how many views things get and things like that, how long things took to make, things like that, to make it so that we can make it smoother in the future. So the main execution of recording these videos, it's pretty simple, but we have to make the script, record the script, edit the audio after we record the script, create the video assets if needs be, just to make it have that more personal touch, assemble the audio and video, do a final check, and then we post it on social media platforms. Of course, that's a very, very basic review of how this video editing process goes, and this is pretty standard across industries. So, that's just how we do it here. And then, of course, monitoring this project, we had to gather two main types of data, being the pre-post, like I said, and post-post. And here's a simple example here. Of course, since we're so early into the process and how social media algorithms go, it doesn't really it takes a while for things to really start gathering views and start gathering customers. So this project is still in its really early stages, and it'll take time for us to really have the data we need. But it's better to start a project doing exactly what you need to do the whole time than to kind of duct tape that on after a while and rearrange things. So we're starting it strong, making sure we're gathering as much as we can and getting used to gathering this data, even if it's a very little amount of data at the moment for the post-post section. But the pre-post, we're gathering plenty of data, making sure we're optimizing and organizing things better, adapting how we need to, and just overall making sure that we're making this content faster and still keeping a higher quality. Ooh. And finally, the project journey is closing. Currently, there is no project closing. We are just starting this project. There's a long road ahead of us. But this is a very good start to the project. Of course, with this semester, the main goal was to just get this going, get it off its feet, and get running. And that's exactly what we did. I'd consider this a good project, and that it's overall been going pretty well for a start. But the closing is nowhere near. At least for our, the business itself. The project this semester has closed, technically speaking, since the semester is closing. But again, we're still going strong. We have a long road ahead of us. So the application of principles from this that I was able to apply are the management strategies being communication, organization, optimizing, and just overall adaptation. So when it comes to communication, I was communicating with my team members, and stakeholders, making sure that we're all on the same page, that we're all listening to each other, giving ideas, and making sure that everything is going smoothly. Organizing, that's just making sure nothing's chaotic, because that can be really hard to deal with. Making sure that our files are all organized and everything, making sure that nothing's unknown or confusing at any time. And of course, the optimizing and adapting, making sure that we know exactly how we're going about each week, and making sure that every week we make it a little smoother. We find ways where there was inefficiencies and make it efficient, so that every week we can make things faster with the same or higher quality. So then when it comes to collaboration, the main one was with my team members, of course, since I'm directly collaborating with them and we're working on this project together. But I've also had past mentors that I had help with in the past and present, being professionals and professors. That was very nice. And of course, classmates, since every week we had to post something for an assignment in this class. So getting feedback from the class members was really nice, and really helped me, opened my eyes a bit to things that I wasn't really noticing, which is very nice. So my main lessons learned from this project are proper communication is key, and figuring out exactly what that proper communication is, because communicating to different people needs to be different types of communication. It's just the nature of things with this. I don't need to explain everything to my classmates, but I do need to make sure I do that to my team members. Don't let the scope get too wide. At times it felt like we were overwhelming ourselves, because we're like, oh, let's just do all this at once, and it's like we have to, eventually you have to step back and realize, okay, it's okay if we tone it down a little bit, and make it more manageable. And the next thing, keeping a proper schedule. I didn't realize the value of this when I first started the project, but as it went on, I really realized how valuable it is to keep a proper schedule and make sure that things are set with the proper deadlines and whatnot. And then once I learned that, it's been going really well. And of course, keeping things organized. This goes with pretty much any field, but making sure things don't get lost, things aren't chaotic, there's not things everywhere. Keeping things organized so it's so easy to see, very useful. So my conclusion is it was great to get this experience, and I gained a lot of it in this project. I had a chance to grow my business a bit, which is awesome. I have confidence in my degree, in this technology management degree, and of course I had a chance to apply what I've learned in these 4 years, so that's awesome. Just in case, I have my window open, so I do apologize if you can hear things from outside. Yeah. Anyway, I did really enjoy this project. And it was really great to do, so I look forward to continuing this in the future. Thank you for listening.